Hey, I've been a realtor in the greater Dayton, Ohio region for over 20 years. Can you believe that? And there are 5 questions that I get all the time. And lucky for you, I am breaking those down in this video today, and I am giving you my absolute 100% honest answers to all of those questions. So stay tuned. If there's something that you've been wanting to ask for a long time, but maybe didn't know who to ask, I bet you one of these questions is on your list. So stay tuned. Okay, so let's get right to it. One of the top questions I get all the time is, should I go ahead and buy a house now, or should I wait for those rates to drop? And this is a really complicated question, but a really easy question if you're working with someone like me that has seen the market fluctuate over the past 20 years, and the answer is buy now. And the reason for that is that homes in the greater Dayton area continue to appreciate on a fairly regular basis. And so if you're waiting on those rates to drop, then what's going to happen is by the time that rate maybe happens in 6 months, 8 months, and maybe it comes down 1/4 of a point, or even if you're lucky, 1/2 a point, more than likely the appreciation on that home has caught up with you, and you're probably still paying the same monthly payment that you would have if you purchased the home today. And in most cases, you might even be paying more. So when you see that property that you like, it's time for you to move, just jump on it. Talk to your agent, go over the scenario. Don't want to take it from me? Check out what my mortgage lender, Jessica Benge of Benge Mortgage, has to say. Jessica?
Waiting for rates to go down is a terrible idea because if you wait for the $20 of savings that you're going to save in the payment on the new home, you could be missing out on $20,000 of equity in your new home. Also, if you wait until rates go down, you are going to have many other people getting into the market to buy a home because rates have gone down, making your home buying search very unpleasant and stressful because there's so much more competition. I hope that helps.
So there you go. Take it from the lender herself, right? And the reason I work with somebody like Jessica is that she looks out for her client's best interest the same way I do. We both have a fiduciary. So it's not just our job when you approach someone like her to talk about mortgages, to sign you up and say, here you go. She looks at the whole picture and really develops a plan that's best for you. So at the end of the day, talk to someone like Jessica, talk to someone like me. We will show you the benefits of going ahead and getting into that property now and not wasting your time. Now, one thing that a lot of buyers maybe don't think about when they're purchasing a home, whether it's your first property or you're downsizing, or maybe you're buying a second home or a vacation home, is what should I budget for those closing costs? And what are closing costs? Closing costs are actually the cost to originate the loan with your lender, and they also include prepaids, and they include building up that escrow account. Now, what's an escrow account? The escrow account is what is part of your mortgage payment on a monthly basis that includes your taxes for the month and your insurance premium for the month. So when you close on the property, you will have a nest egg, and that will cover your first years of homeowner's insurance and typically 3 to 4 months worth of property taxes. So you have a nice built up nest egg for when those are due. You have them there. And it comes out of your mortgage every single month. So when you're thinking about closing costs, it really depends on the type of home you're buying, where you're buying it, what those property taxes look like, and what type of loan program you're looking at. So once again, I'm going to throw it over to Jessica. She's going to break it down for you on just how much you should really be budgeting at the end of the day before you write that offer.
Alrighty, what should you budget for closing costs? I like to be fully transparent with my clients, and some lenders will not include the homeowner's insurance and the taxes in this number, although when you're getting your loan disclosures, it's included. So, short answer is 2 to 3% of your purchase price, and it does vary per county because taxes are different. I hope that helps. 2 to 3%. So I don't know, $7,000, $8,000 if I want to throw out a unit number. Hope that helps.
Thanks again, Jessica. As you can tell, this is one of the reasons I work with her and have for so many years. When it comes to closing costs, you want to know what those are going to be up front, because maybe when we write the offer for you, you may be able to get the seller to pay a part of or all of those closing costs, but it depends on part of the negotiations. So it's good to know how much they're going to be at the end of the day so that you can negotiate that in real time with that seller. Here's an example. Let's say you're purchasing a property for $250,000, and that is what the seller is willing to sell you the property for. However, you need $5,000 in closing costs. That seller's bottom line may be $250,000. And if you need $5,000 in closing costs, now the seller's bottom line is going to be $255,000 because they are giving you back $5,000 at the closing table to cover your closing costs, and that is going to be wrapped in to the life of your loan. Now, if you have those in your reserves and the seller will not come down anymore, or they're unable to concede a closing cost, it's good to know whether or not you'll be able to cover those when we all get to the closing table. So we can dive into that more once we're out looking at properties. Now, this third one is a pretty big one because people will come to me all the time saying they want to buy a home, but then they'll also ask me, we really don't know what we're looking for beyond what just makes us feel good. What makes us feel at home when we walk in that front door, sit at the kitchen, or go into the backyard. And there are things that your realtor should be looking out for you and looking out in the home for things that could come up down the road. So one of the things I look for if you're financing an FHA or your VA loan, I look for things that maybe could pop up in the appraisal. These are things like peeling paint, maybe chips around the window, maybe even some broken glass, or those pesky handrails in a front porch or a back porch or going down to the basement. If they're missing, that appraiser is going to point it out, and that seller has to replace it before you can close on the loan. So being aware of those up front is going to save you time, potentially save you money, and also help secure the deal. Those are things that I look for. Now, I also will look at electric panels, HVAC, air conditioning units outside, water heaters, water softeners, basement condition, and also the property disclosure forms. These are all things that we need to be aware of. So if you're entering a situation where a seller is telling you they are selling the property as is, maybe it's an estate sale, and you want to buy that property and it's at the top of your price point, there are things that we're going to look at that you should be aware of, because more than likely that seller may not negotiate those as part of the inspection process, and they then become your responsibility. And we don't want to break the bank after you move in, right? So your realtor, aka me, will help take care of you and make sure you are seeing things that you need to be aware of that maybe you didn't think about from the get-go. And I'd love to break that all down for you. It's part of my buyer's consultation. I lay all of this out. Let's go. All right, now I realize not everybody's a first-time home buyer. Maybe this is your second home. Maybe this is your retirement home. Whatever the circumstance is, if you are looking to buy and you have a property to sell, sometimes people will ask, well, how do I do that? How do I get from point A to point B? I don't want to own two properties. What are the suggestions you have? And my honest answer is, it really depends on what your financial circumstances are and what your motivation is. If you have a lot of equity in that property, sometimes putting that home onto the market and getting a contract on that is going to benefit you, so that when you go out and you find a property, you can tell that seller, I already have a buyer for my property. My offer on your home is contingent upon the close of my current property. A lot of people like to get out there right away before they even have their house on the market, and they try and write an offer and they tell the seller, hey, I have to put my home onto the market and sell it first. And while the seller may be okay with that, there's no guarantee that you're actually going to be able to get a contract on your house. They don't know you. They don't know your property. So that may make your offer a weaker offer at the end of the day. Other options you have, get with someone like Jessica or your local lender, and they can walk you through programs such as bridge loans. That's a whole video we can go into at another point in time. If you're interested in that, Google it, but it essentially covers two mortgages on two properties in one big bridge loan. It bridges the two together. Also, likewise, if you are fortunate enough to maybe be able to afford the second mortgage and the first mortgage, you can go ahead and buy that second home non-contingent with a minimum down payment and sell your property at the same time. And if you close on your new property first, then you can either refinance or what some lenders will call a recast, and take the equity from your original home and then roll it over into the new property and recast that loan, including all of that equity that you've worked so hard to save up. So there are a lot of options. In today's society, it's not just a matter of, well, you have to sell your home first. There are programs out there, and there's a program that fits what your goals are and what your real estate goals are. All you gotta do is talk to someone who knows what they're doing and is licensed and has been in that situation before, like me and Jessica. And And the very last thing that I hear nonstop, I have since I started real estate in 2005, is, well, I don't have 20% down for the property that I want to buy. Do I have to have 20% down? And the answer is no, absolutely not. There are many programs out there for many different types of buyers. The traditional way of buying a property is a conventional loan, which has a 20% down payment. And the reason it has a 20% down payment is that helps you avoid what's called PMI. PMI stands for primary mortgage insurance. That's essentially an extra payment that you're making until your loan is bought down that ensures with the lender that should you default, they will be able to make up the difference. So if you can put down 20%, that's fantastic. You'll be able to avoid the PMI. But depending on your credit rating and everything, you may also qualify for a conventional 10% down product, 5% down product, and in some circumstances, 0 down product. It all is based off of what your income is, what your assets are, and what your credit score is. Now, a lot of buyers also look at what's called FHA loans. Those are federally backed loans, and those have a minimum down payment of 3.5%. Not too bad, right? And here in Ohio, we actually have what's called an OFA loan, OFHA. Those offer certain buyers and certain income brackets and everything to qualify for a up to 2.5% grant. So think about that. If you are looking to buy a home and you qualify for an OFA loan and the minimum down payment is 3.5%, you may also qualify for a 2.5% grant. That way you only have to come up with 1% when you get to the closing table. Now, there are stipulations. You have to stay in the home for a certain number of years. If you do leave the home before then and sell the property, a portion of that grant is due back to the government. But if you're there for a certain number of years, stay in the home, current on your payments, that loan is forgivable. Not too shabby. Now, also, we have programs for our veterans. If you are a veteran, first of all, thank you for your service. And there are programs out there that can get you into a home for 100% financing. That is something that the government has set up as a thank you to support our veterans for serving our country. Jessica and I do a lot of work with our military veterans here. We are happy to work for you. We honor your service, and those are fantastic programs. Now, I could talk about this a lot. I'll throw it over here to Jessica. She'll break it down for you also, and we'll be right back.
Do you need 20% down to buy a house? Goodness, the belief that 20% down payment is necessary stems from historical lending practices and the desire to get out of private mortgage insurance, which is an extra little thing on your payment. However, there are plenty of low down payment options that are available. The ideal down payment depends on you and your circumstances. So do not let saving 20% down delay you from getting in a home. You don't need 20% down. You could do 3%, 5%, 10%, 15%, plenty of options.
Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate it. She is my go-to. Trust me. I think I talk to her more than I do anybody else in my life right now. So as you can see, 20% is not the norm. Is it a great way to get into a property? Absolutely. But if you don't have a 20% down, you are just like millions of other Americans that are buying homes right now. So we can still get you into that property. Let's go over what your situation is, what your goals are, and how we can help you cross that finish line. So those are my top 5 questions that I get on a regular basis and my honest answers. Listen, there's no script here. I'm just talking to you. It's you and me. We're talking about the home buying process. These questions come up all the time. And if you have been asking yourself these questions and have never gotten the answers, I really hope this video helped you out. If there are other questions that you have and you want to explore other options, and even if you think, well, this is kind of a silly question, I don't want to bug David, this is what I do for a living. You can find all my information up here in my bio. You can like, you can subscribe. I'm always happy to walk people through that. We can set up a buyer's consultation, talk over the phone, set up an in-person meeting, set up a Zoom call. Whatever works out best for you, we can go over those options. And before you know it, you too will be a homeowner. Thanks for watching.